What's up, people? This is Omar saying join me on December the 15th at the Coco in Camden for a night of soul music where we'll be raising money for the Macmillan Teenage Cancer Trust and the Cancer Research UK. People like myself, Shola Amma, Louise Marshall, Kevin Leo, Adenike, London Soul Choir, and a Killer House Band is going to be kicking that night. All right, so go to coco.co.uk for the tickets. See you there. Paranoid, baby, but I know.
Seduction City presents Blues City, your destination for the best in reggae, dancehall and more. Feel the full sound of Seduction City, powered by the authentic female DJs, the dynamic Lady Banton and the iconic Majestic Lady, representing the true female sound system. Join us at the Colour Factory at 8 Queen's Yard, London E9 5EN on Sundays the 22nd of December 24, the 26th of January 25 and the 23rd of February 25 from 3 until 9 p.m. Entry is just £12.50. And don't miss the 2-for-1 rum punch special during the first hour. It's perfect for the start to the vibes. So head on down to Blues City where the music and energy come alive.
Beautiful skin. I'm loving the skin that I'm in.
And we are back with the Breakfast Flight Show with Sharky DJ and HPQ News on every Monday and Tuesday. Tune in live from 7:30 to hear HPQ with the alternative news. Streaming live on Mixcloud, on Sharky DJ, HPQ and on GY Radio. So that's the Breakfast Flight Show every Monday and Tuesday from 7 till 10 a.m. Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year from the Breakfast Flight Show crew. Join us for our Christmas week special on Monday the 23rd of December, Tuesday the 24th of December and on Christmas Day the 25th of December from 7 till 10 a.m. So join us for a Christmas week special on the Breakfast Flight Show with Sharky DJ and HPQ 7 till 10 a.m. And here's wishing you a Merry Christmas and a very Happy New Year from the Breakfast Flight Show crew. Welcome back to the Virtual Couch on Sunday, December the 15th from 12 until 3 p.m. with the House Party Queen for a powerful and thought-provoking episode. My very special guest is Afua Rose, a bold and controversial advocate for women's rights and enlightenment. Known for her fearless approach and unapologetic views, Afua will challenge the status quo and spark conversations that matter. Don't miss this opportunity to explore this discussion and much more. So tune in live on Mixcloud and on YouTube. This is one conversation you won't want to miss. Let's also start to give and do more for our charity. So donate to HPQ Giving.
Woke up when I got the feeling I know a sound. I'm hooked up in a situation. I'm down with the invitation. A new love and a revelation for keeping my head to the ground. Ooh, all way too far to pieces, baby. Work so hard to see things through. Ooh, all way to question each other, mama. I know what it takes to make it right for you. It's the way I feel. It's the way I feel. It's the way I feel. It's the way I feel.
Okay, good afternoon, good afternoon. Welcome to the virtual couch. And this edition is the Breaking Boundaries with HBQ. And today we'll be interviewing Afua Rose. Some of you may have heard of this young lady. Could I say on a mission of putting things right? So stay tuned right here. On the virtual couch once a month. And I welcome each and everybody who has just joined us right here today on the virtual couch. And do we have a very, very explosive show for you today? And no doubt we shall be asking this young lady some serious questions on her quest for justice, as some would say. Oh, yes. In the meantime, between times, just going to play a few tracks until we start the show.
Nobody knows what to hit this golden road. Lead the way and guide me. Eventually I'll find it. Nobody knows of the gems the inside holds. Show the way, don't hide it. Eventually I'll find it. Someday I'll find a mystic way that will lead to all desire. Yes, someday. Oh yes, I'll find a mystic way that will lead to all good things. Yes, someday. Restore my passion so I can return to my magic. Just pour out this blessing so I can enjoy what's given. Rainbow skies fill my heart. I see a high. Do you hide the moon there in the sky? Love the mystery of this feeling, the mystery of just being. Have you ever heard of that place we all must find? Colorful surroundings light up when you're smiling. What we seek outside is not where the beauty lies. So close your eyes.
Say good afternoon going out to Miss Lorna H, Lady B. Big shouts to Laurie. Big shouts out to Michael Wolfheiser, always there on the hot floor. Big up yourself, Michael. Welcome aboard the virtual couch, hosted by the one and only HBQ today. Okay, and so it goes on and on and on and on. And I'll tell you what, today I'm absolutely looking forward to this particular show. Young lady, Afua Rose, if some of you do not know her, is a lady. She's been looking to find people in society or in our community that has done wrong to certain people. Some people do agree, some people don't. But an explosive interview is going to be hosted today by HBQ. I'm not going to go on too much about it, but I just want you guys to just join in, ask the question, be positive, and let's see what we can find out about this young lady. Don't forget, you can log into myself and HBQ every Monday and Tuesday on the breakfast flight show between 7 and 10 in the mornings. And also this year we will be extending our show right out to Wednesday, where we will be having a Christmas special. And if you joined in last year, you know it was a lot of fun. So as our guest gets ready, I can see her in the green room. Also, HBQ will be coming on shortly. So please share the link, share the love. Any questions, asked. We'll try and get through as much as we can today. Time is now 16 minutes past 12 on this Sunday, the 15th of December. Wow, 15 more days, or is it 16 more days till we hit 2025? So Lorna, Miss Lorna H says, good afternoon. Loris says, looking forward to this session. So we are live on Facebook, also live on YouTube, HPQ, House Party Queens, House Party Queen Facebook, and Mixcloud. So if you've got the link, please send the link out. Definitely feeling emotions all the way. Talking about emotions, I love emotions. How do we handle emotions? Ah. So there she is, the wonderful HBQ, aka House Party Queen. Or should I say House Party Queen, aka HBQ. How are you?
Now we're the best of friends. The chemistry just never stops. I know she was meant for me, and she knows how to keep it high.
I could send this one out to you, couldn't I?
Smooth. I had to make my move. She was too hot. Yes, she was.
So I'm absolutely looking forward to this show today.
Set my heart on fire.
Say good morning or good afternoon going out to Lisa.
Yeah.
Said she had to pull over. Bless up our inspirational Queen Afua Rose, guidance and protection.
Too hot to handle.
There you go.
Too hot. Yes, she was. She stepped to me so smooth. Had to make my move. She was too hot. Yes, she was. She looked me in my eyes, set my heart on fire. She was too hot. Yeah.
So, good afternoon, and how are you?
I should clear my throat, really. I'm fine, thank you. Good afternoon, Sharky. Thank you for playing some wonderful music. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
And good afternoon to everybody in the Mixcloud who's joined so far. Lisa said, oh my God, when you said Queen Afua Rose had to pull over. Love the positive reviews there. Good afternoon, Wolf Michael Pfister, Lady B, Laurie, and Miss Lorna H. And obviously we have Afua Rose in the green room. Mm-hmm. Now, welcome to the virtual couch. Today, as you know, we have Afua Rose. She's my special guest. She's an outspoken advocate for women's rights and empowerment. She's also fearless, a voice addressing deep-rooted issues within our society, our community, including the taboo of abuse in black communities, the challenges that women face in reclaiming their identity, the importance of even living authentically. She's known for a controversial approach, and she's often called out individuals and institutions that she believes perpetuates harm, particularly around the issues of child abuse and sexual misconduct. And in this conversation, we'll explore her journey, her thoughts on these sensitive topics, and her vision for societal change. She is indeed a trailblazer, no matter what you think of her. Now, I will be honest, today's interview felt a little displaced, and I know some of you will have strong opinions about my choice of guest, who is no stranger to controversy. And since the early days of Instagram, I've been following her in terms of her quest and her mission. And she's garnered attention with bold accusations and an unrelenting approach, I could say, to holding people accountable. Now, running this program has brought its own challenges itself, and some of you might even question why I'm actually giving her this platform. Now, the truth is, like many of you, I'm motivated by curiosity and the need to understand who is Afua Rose, what drives her to take these actions, how does she gather evidence and decide to bring her findings to such a public stage. These are some of the questions that I'm aiming to explore today, not to incite blame or retaliation, but to engage in a deeper conversation about her mission, her methods and the impact of her work, and more importantly, about Afua herself. So whether you admire my guest, disagree with her, or fall somewhere in between, this is an opportunity to gain an insight into her story and motivations. So for those tuning in on Mixcloud and YouTube, I know you'll have questions and I'll address, or Sharky will address, he's been my moderator today, as many as I can during the interview. Aren't you, Sharky DJ? You are being a Mr. Moderator.
I definitely will be, as always.
Now, for those of you that are on Mixcloud or YouTube or Facebook, please share the link. Invite people to come along and understand who this young lady is. Fearless, inspiring, whatever names you might have for her. You know, the truth is she's doing some work out there in the community. If it wasn't for her, it may be somebody else. So, Sharky, let's play another track. We'll bring Afua Rose on direct at 12:30. So we've got about 7 minutes. So go get a cup of tea, share the link, ensure you sit back and look forward to this interview. It's just conversation, I should say.
Conversation, definitely. And while you are talking, I just had to reboot this software because I was having a little glitch and it's still booting. So,
oh, that's okay. Well, you can talk to me in the interim, can't you? Are you looking at any aspects of today that you're actually looking forward to, Sharky?
Well, I mean, it's a very interesting person that's coming on. I've watched a lot of videos of some of the quests and some of the challenges that has been faced, and I'm just interested because I like to be objective as to where people's minds are and why did they do the things they do and take up the role that they do. Now, as you said earlier on, there are people who will disagree. There are some people who may say, well, why do you bring her on the platform? But at the end of the day, you know, you can't judge a book by its cover. You need to find out reasons behind people's actions and why they do what they do. And today is a chance for that. I've not actually seen any videos of interviews, not saying that there hasn't been, but you know, it's definitely an interesting one. And I know you're the right person to have this kind of conversation.
There are many facets to Afua Rose, as we'll find out throughout the interview. Her activism is one that shouts and paints the loudest picture that she's quite renowned for. But there's other such work that she does do in the community, you know, with the Metropolitan Police and the things, the wrongdoings that they do as well. She's on the streets fighting for rights, for empowerment for women. She's a true vocal leader, you could say. So not just about the things that we may touch upon today as well. So I'm eager to explore a little bit more about her and really, you know, what her outcomes are, what her future looks like, whether it's still participating in activism, whether she's going to hand over the baton, you know. And it's difficult for anybody that's quite vocal You know, you got the leader of the National Front, Tommy, whatever his name is, and he gets death threats. Yeah, Tommy Robinson. And, you know, a lot of people love him and a lot of people hate him. And a lot of people won't do what he's doing, but somebody will do. And, you know, and people like that also suffer from hate and death threats. And I want to know about the impact that's had on her life as well. And just some of the impact of what she's done. I'm looking forward to it, to say the least.
Me too. It's definitely a subject that is controversial, and you know, as some people may say, a person that's controversial. But as you turned around and said, don't want to say too much right now. I'll let you get on with the interview. And while I'm having this glitch, and I don't know why it's glitching today, I've been helping everyone else, but today, for some reason,
that's okay. You're just going to have to stay on and talk and talk to me. You're going to have to multitask.
Multitask is what I'm doing. Talking about multitasking, if we can talk about and just come away from that subject, and I'll leave that for later. Jay-Z! I've been watching Jay-Z and Beyonce.
Oh, I'm not talking about Jay-Z and Beyonce. That's for the Breakfast Flight show. We'll definitely come back to that.
There's been a lot, but we won't go too much. So it's just something to talk about while I get this.
Well, Sarlene B says, big up Afua. Grandma Liz also says, we welcome Sister Afua. Victims need a voice, and this is what Sister Afua brings. Peaceful Harmony says, big love to Afua Rose as well. So it's really all positive comments here. And as I said, this interview was bringing some challenges. Some people did not agree with me giving her a platform to speak. Others did, as you can tell by the love here. So, you know, we're here to, everybody has a story and everybody has a right to be heard. So let's hear her today. And as I quite rightly said, this is streaming live on Facebook and on YouTube and also on Mixcloud. So if you have any questions, please put them through on any of the platforms. We would try to answer as many as possible. Maybe we'll get through all of them. Maybe we might not get through any at all. But as I said, it's a very powerful and thought-provoking interview. Now, Afua, I know you're in the backstage there. Give me a thumbs up and let me know if you are ready. What we will do is we will run the ads again, and hopefully after that she'll be ready to come on. She ready? She ready like Freddie?
Let's run those ads and then bring her on after.
Okay, guys, we'll bring her on shortly after this.
What's up, people? This is Omar saying join me on December the 15th at the Coco in Camden for a night of soul music where we'll be raising money for the Macmillan Teenage Cancer Trust and the Cancer Research UK. People like myself, Shola Amma, Louise Marshall, Kevin Leo, Adenike, London Soul Choir, and a Killer House Band is going to be kicking that night. All right, so go to coco.co.uk for the tickets. See you there.
Paranoid, baby, but I know.
Seduction City presents Blues City, your destination for the best in reggae, dancehall and more. Feel the full sound of Seduction City, powered by the authentic female DJs, the dynamic Lady Banton and the iconic Majestic Lady, representing the true female sound system. Join us at the Colour Factory. It's at 8 Queen's Yard, London E9 5EN on Sundays, the 22nd of December 24, the 26th of January 25, and the 23rd of February 25, from 3 until 9 p.m. Entry is just £12.50. And don't miss the 2-for-1 rum punch special during the first hour. It's perfect for the start to the vibes. So head on down to Blues City, where the music and energy come alive.
Beautiful skin.
And we are back with the Breakfast Flight Show with Sharky DJ and HPQ News on every Monday and Tuesday. Tune in live from 7:30 to hear HPQ with the alternative news. Streaming live on Mixcloud, on Sharky DJ, HPQ, and on GY Radio. So that's the Breakfast Flight Show every Monday and Tuesday from 7 till 10 a.m. Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year from the Breakfast Flight Show crew. Join us for our Christmas week special on Monday the 23rd of December, Tuesday the 24th of December, and on Christmas Day the 25th of December from 7 till 10 a.m. So join us for a Christmas week special on the Breakfast Flight Show with Sharky DJ and HPQ 7 till 10 a.m. And here's wishing you a Merry Christmas and a very Happy New Year from the Breakfast Flight Show crew. Welcome back to the Virtual Couch on Sunday, December the 15th from 12 until 3 p.m. with the House Party Queen for a powerful and thought-provoking episode. My very special guest is Afua Rose, a bold and controversial advocate for women's rights and enlightenment. Known for her fearless approach and unapologetic views, Afua will challenge the status quo and spark conversations that matter. Don't miss this opportunity to explore this discussion and much more. So tune in live on Mixcloud and on YouTube. This is one conversation you won't want to miss. Let's also start to give and do more for our charity. So donate to HPQ Giving. And so we are here. Oh, I think we might have lost Afua Rose there for a second. She was in the green room. Now she's disappeared. Oh, she's come back. She's come back. She's back.
Yes.
So, Afua, let me know if you are ready to, if you're coming on camera today and if you're ready to be added to the screen, which we will do now. Let's add her in. Hi, Afua. Can you hear me? Oh, now she's gone again. She's gone again. Now, Sharky, since you rebooted, do you have any music that you can play in the meantime? Oh.
Yes.
Whilst we get Afua Rose back, she is definitely in the green room.
So you
Technicals.
Yep.
I said, whilst we get Afua Rose back, she's definitely in the green room.
Yes.
When you come around, I don't know what it is. Every time I close my eyes, I see your face, can't get you off my mind. Even when you're away, and I know we said it's over. I know we said goodbye. My heart won't let you go, no matter.
So welcome aboard, Verona Green. Good afternoon to you, Peaceful Harmony, and Grandma Liz, and Selena B. I think I pronounced that right. Silene or Cyrene, Cyrene, or something. Trying to get that pronunciation right there. Sounds of Hill Street Soul, a track called Fingerprints.
Thank you,
HBQ.
Sharky DJ. And I have to correct an error there. Sirleen. Sorry if I got the pronunciation wrong.
Is it Serline?
Sirleen. Sorry about that. Get that
No.
right. Anyway, let me add our very special guest to the stage. Now, she's not coming on camera today. We've got Afua and her voice there. Welcome, Afua. How are you?
Blessed love, my sister. Blessed love. I do
Oh,
apologise for not putting my camera on, but I'd done a very rare thing last night. I raved with my daughters, and I've literally just woken up.
I can
Late on the
understand.
rice and peas and everything.
Oh, I can understand when you don't want to come on camera. Sometimes when I'm doing a show, honestly, to get makeup done in the morning.
Yeah.
Now, I've done an intro there for you in the reasons to why I've brought you on my as a guest today to get to know a little bit more about you. You're known on Instagram and social media for being quite a controversial advocate of women's rights and empowerment. And today's show is not really about, I don't want to go over naming and shaming individuals or seeking any retribution. I kind of want to really get to know you, and maybe we might have some questions from the mixed cloud.
No problem. I need to put my headphones on,
Yeah,
and it's not working. I might have to just drop out and drop back in again. Let me see.
that's okay. That's okay
Is
if you
that
do that.
okay?
That's fine. You go ahead. What I can.
StreamYard and I are not friends. I've always got an issue with it.
So if there's an
Let
issue
me
with
see if it
StreamYard,
works.
I'm a
Hold on.
StreamYard king there. So any issue that can be sorted out easily.
Yeah. And as I said earlier on, whilst we're waiting for Afua Rose to come back, I'm motivated by the curiosity and need to understand who she is, what drives her to take some of these actions, and how she gathers her evidence maybe and decides to bring her findings to a public stage. And, like I said, these are the questions I'm going to explore today. We are not naming any individuals. We are not inciting blame or any kind of retaliation whatsoever. This is just to get to know her a little bit better. Now, we are besieged with a few problems today. Afua's jumped in and out since she's actually started, and I know everyone's kind of keen to get this interview started. So, good afternoon, Donald. Good afternoon. You just finished up at the gym. Well done. Let's bring her on stage. Are you there? Are you back? Have you got your headphones
I
on?
am, and my headphones have connected. Yes, my sister, that's much
Ah,
better.
wonderful. Thank you.
Good
Now,
afternoon, Afua.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. I love the tunes you're playing, by the way. I was kind of bopping backstage.
Shazam away.
thank you. Just turn your mic up slightly as well, Sharky. Now, I want to know a little bit more about you, first of all, before we go into the nitty gritty of anything. And tell me about yourself, because you are what you say a self-proclaimed activist, a psychotherapist, a poetress, a vocalist, a social commentator, and
Yes.
Pan-Africanist. What does all of this mean? And tell us a little bit more about yourself and some of these things that you're
Well,
doing.
sure. What does it all mean? I think they all interconnect. You know, being a therapist, a therapeutic practitioner, working at the kind of nub end of vulnerabilities and with really hard to reach cohorts, connects to the activism because some of those socio-economic issues that I cover outside of my professional life are very much prevalent within my professional life. So they all interconnect, I think. And being a poetess, or what I describe as a poetician, I do believe that if you've been given the gift of a speech, the gift of voice, song, you're a player of instruments, that you have a responsibility to use that as a vehicle for social change, you know? That's what poets were meant to do, especially in the days of old. A griot, an African griot, did that. They were the politicians of their day.
They were
So
indeed.
they were indeed. So we're not supposed to, speak bad or speak of speak slap lyrics or anything that is not uplifting to the people. So I guess it's my calling, really.
And
Yes, sis.
that's a strong calling you actually have. But to
A
talk a little,
burdensome one.
I was going to say, and I'm going to address that. I think later on in some of the
Mm,
questions that I have about your next steps and
mm.
missions, and whether it does
Sure,
become
sure.
quite exhausting to be this advocate. But you said you work in this sector, and you said our heritage shows that child abuse is
Mm,
kind of taboo within our communities to a degree. We don't really talk about it. We ignore it. We
mm-hmm.
carry on, or we don't believe it, but it happened. and a
Hmm.
lot for both our young men and women.
Hmm.
What initiated you to start on this mission to speak up about some of these things that you do?
Well, I'm a specialist in early childhood trauma, so a large part of my clientele, if you like, are survivors. I've been working with survivors for over 35 years. And anyone who knows me, being an old East London girl, we don't suffer nonces gladly. It's just part of my DNA. It's ingrained. And I think, this latest campaign, His Time Is Up, which is now 4 years old, um, it was always there, really, in one way, shape, or form. Uh, but what was the sort of touch paper for this particular incarnation of this campaign was
Yeah,
the fact that I had a very deep conversation with a very dear friend of mine, my daughter's godmother, while I
yeah,
was living in Tanzania during COVID. And she shared that she had been molested by the individual I went on to call out quite strongly in 2020. So that was it for me. It just had come too close to home. I think I was completely incensed. I knew something had to change, especially in our community. Like you said, we don't talk about it. It's not to a degree. It is absolutely taboo in our community. And when we talk about physical abuse, that is ingrained in our culture.
I was
That's
I
not even
was
seen as abuse in our culture.
I was going to say, my next
Mm,
question was about cultural conditioning, which to some degree
mhm,
that is. We're conditioned to think, sweep it under the carpet, don't tell no one, that's
mhm,
your uncle or your aunt or your father,
mhm,
he's a good man, and
mhm,
I haven't experienced sexual abuse, but I've
mhm,
experienced one of my close cousins go through it and the whole
mhm.
family shut down and act like it
Yeah,
never happened. And that
yeah.
had to be very difficult. She felt very isolated, very suicidal, and it's hard as a
Mm,
lone person, as a one man band, to be advocating to say that something has happened is quite difficult when you've got a whole family
very.
connection. So how do you think you could go about changing this cultural condition that we've got of closing the door and not trying to talk about it when it really does need to be spoken about?
They say that if you do something repetitively for more than 3 weeks, it becomes a habit. And that's what I think it is: repetition, consistency, raising the voice as loud as we possibly can, and doing that for long enough will eventually change the narrative, generationally anyway. Some of the diehards, there's no changing them. They'll have to die out as a generation before we can get to where it is that we need to go with the incoming generation. But that's why we do what we do. I think we've forgotten as Black people, we've forgotten about generational impact, generational wealth, generational. We've forgotten about uh, sowing our roots down into the
Yeah.
next generation. We don't do that anymore. It's very immediate. Everybody wants. It's a kind of now culture that we've fallen into, and that's not who we are. So I just think being consistent and repetitive enough, it will change. I think it's already changing. We've certainly opened the conversation, and that's
With this Me Too movement in particularly, women are now starting to speak out
yeah,
about things that they've experienced, whether it is sexual, as
absolutely.
in penetrational, or even just touching or vocal. All of it is part of
Mhm,
sexual abuse,
mhm,
sexual harassment,
mhm,
of which it needs to be called out. But
mhm.
have you encountered resistance within your own community when speaking out about, well, when you initially started speaking out about some of these issues, and how has that been taken?
Well, the first community, yes, I have experienced resistance, and the first community to do that was my own family at 10 years old when I disclosed my own abuse. Um, Very typical Caribbean stroke Jamaican response, like you just described: shut down, just complete denial, or complete challenge. It's either
Yeah.
denial or your challenge is a liar. So that's what happened. So that was the first community. Um, and, if I'm honest, I guess that would have shaped whatever came next, I think, because my reaction to that was not to be depressed or, well, actually, maybe I was and I didn't realize. But
Yeah.
there was a lot of anger that turned outwards, not inwards. So I did become very vocal, whether that was at school, in the home, I just became very vocal. That was my reaction to that. I've always hated being called a liar. I hate it when I'm not lying because I'm somebody that actually fesses up. I'll put my hands up. I'm not going to be egotistical enough to not sort of put my hands up if I'm wrong about something. So to be called a liar for me is quite deep. And yeah, that was the first stand of resistance, I think, and it's just kind of followed through, I think.
And so, what keeps you motivated to continue? We were speaking about this a little bit earlier, despite all these challenges that you have. I mean, from the Met Police,
I will
CPS,
get into
harassment.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you know what? It's interesting because I did go out last night, which is a rare thing for me. I don't do that. I was never much of a party queen. Um, but I did go out last night and it was really interesting because I saw a lot of old school people I haven't seen for 30 odd years, that type of setup. And it's those people, there was quite a few people that watch the show that are part of the movement. They were telling me they were, I obviously didn't know beforehand. And it was that encouragement of saying, keep going. It's really interesting. I was saying it just last night that every time I feel kind of a dip in my energy, I feel victimized by the people that come for me or whatever it is. And I say, do you know what? I'm throwing in the rag. Guaranteed. I'll be out. It could be on a shopping trip or whatever. And somebody will come up to me and, hug me, talk about how much I changed their life, how much it caused them to do whatever they did in their own spaces to speak out. And they encourage me and urge me, please keep going. It's that kind of energy that keeps me going. And every time I get a story that is heinous, that needs speaking about, it drops in my inbox. So yeah, that's the motivation.
I was watching one of your interviews and you talked about your number ones, and they
That
almost
was
kind of
Friday.
keep a ring around you and keep you almost sane, keep you
Yeah.
believing in yourself, and positive vibes and energy to keep going. I
Mm.
mean, as we said,
Because
go on, sorry,
yeah,
as we were
I
going
mean,
to
I was
say.
going to say because it isn't just the community that. Because on the one hand, you have all of those lovely people that are really encouraging their supporters. They're saying keep going, and I have that in my personal circles as well. But equally, I do have the equivalent of trolls in my personal circles as well that don't agree with it. That are quite vocal with me and saying that you're doing the wrong thing and all that kind of good stuff. I just think it's important for everybody, not just, especially the people that are close to me, to really understand that it's not something that you choose. Nobody wants to have their windows put in. Nobody wants to be pursued by the police. Nobody wants any of that. Nobody wants their children to feel unsafe. Uh, but you keep going because there's a hand in there somewhere, whether that is ancestral, spiritual, supreme, whatever it is. The universe keeps pushing you in that direction, and until that stops, you don't stop. I don't stop.
That kind of led me into the next question I had, because it's about calling out the abuse and the controversy, and you've become very well known, infamous almost, for naming
I think
individuals.
that would be the good word. Yeah, infamous.
Yeah, for naming individuals and accusing them of child sexual abuse or misconduct.
Mm,
And you kind of spoke about the reasons to why you do it, because it is a direct and a very, very public approach. And
mm,
it's understandable that some individuals will not take lightly to it.
hmm.
Um, but as you've said, you've got a drive and determination to keep going. I mean, you said it was spurred by was it your niece that had gone through it?
No,
That was
it was spurred by the fact that my daughter's godmother
that was
had
it.
been, yeah, abused by, as I said, that very famous individual in Brixton.
Okay.
Mm.
So you've obviously got information. Um, how do you ensure that the allegations you make are credible before you go out there on a public platform? Because that's got to be hard, right?
Hmm.
It's one person says one thing, one person says another, and who do you believe? And some people can lie. I'm not
Of
saying any
course.
of the victims out there, and I'm not saying any women do, but some people can, for whatever reasons there are out there.
Hmm.
How do you ensure that the information is credible?
You're very right. Some people can lie, and women particularly can be quite wicked when it comes to relationships. Men, people make stories up for all sorts of reasons. I have a son who's 29. So my motivation is not to harm anybody. I get it from both ends. And what I find interesting though is that every single person that we have, and God knows how many, what the kind of head count is right now, has denied it. Everybody. So, that isn't a true reflection of what's going on at all. It's just interesting that victims speak out, perpetrators lie. How I ensure that, and nothing is for sure, but I do as much as I can to make our investigations as robust as they possibly can. So, for instance, I will not bring anybody onto the show until we've had at least three women that have come forward, or it's three victims. It doesn't have to always be women, but at least three victims that have come forward calling the same name. And that could take a year. Recently, I did the tennis star story, and it took a good couple of years actually for number to get to three. And when it did, it was a very powerful testimony with receipts. Now, I may show some of those receipts because I asked for those. Anyone who's sort of ever been through the process from contacted me on Instagram to me sending them a message for their telephone number, that's the first kind of screening that happens. There's lots of
Yeah.
people. You find that when you do that, a lot of the kind of fake people fall by the wayside because they think that they can send a DM telling me about someone and I'm just going to jump up the next day and put it up. And it doesn't work that way. I want your telephone number. We will be having a FaceTime call. I will be needing to speak to members of your family or people that are close to you. I need at least two people that are close to you that can corroborate what you're telling me. Preferably an elder, so not, a mate or anything like that, a family member, preferably your mother, your father, somebody of that standing. I prefer that. And just as much evidence as we can possibly deem. In the CPS doesn't have the same criteria for historic sexual abuse as it does for, say, armed robbery that happened
Yeah.
yesterday. So we're not going to be seeing material evidence in these cases. We're not going to be seeing CCTV. We're not going to have necessarily DNA or fingerprints or anything like that. But what we can have is genealogy. We can have testimony that goes back far enough. We can have doctors' reports. We can have text messages or secret recordings. These are the things that are admissible in terms of evidence. And those are the things that I require before I put something on. If there is a lack of evidence that is shown to the public, that is because we know we've got a strong case and it will be going to the police. And we're not about to jeopardize the case with showing too much evidence.
So once you people have come forward and you've gathered all your evidence, you then take it to the police or you go
Well,
public
I
or
don't do that because I'm not the victim. So what I do is I support the victim, whoever's come on and told their story.
yeah.
Sometimes they've already been to the police. Most of the time, they've already been to the police. Actually, it could be an ongoing case, or it could be that they've just had no luck. They've been to the police two, three, four times. CPS says there's not enough evidence, and that kind of case actually is the reason that his time is up exists because of the failures of the CPS, the failures of the police to properly investigate. A statistic of 0.8% of victims that approach the police, there isn't even a charge. Only 0.8% result in a charge, and 1.8% results in a conviction. So with numbers like that, and then when you look at the comparison victims year on year, victims of those types of crimes are rising year on year on year and year, particularly acute in the black community. It was just kind of critical. It was crisis point. Something has to give. We cannot have a situation where we continuously have to walk around in our community knowing that this person did something, but nobody else knows. People having to sit with their abusers at the Christmas dinner table, or while they go to visit their parents, he's there playing dominoes or whatever. It's
Yeah.
very, very, very damaging, and that damage transcends into the next generation, and that's why we're seeing a lot of the unrest that we see with our young people. Trauma, generational trauma.
And it's true. I worked with a young lady who didn't know
Mhm.
that I was a news presenter or anything, and we went to lunch a couple of
Mhm.
times. Very meek and mild young lady, and
Mhm.
three of us were all sharing one day at lunch. You know, as women we do. You know, you get on with people, you feel that energy, and you start to share some of your past. Sometimes it's good to talk with a stranger, and she shared that she was a victim of abuse by her father, and that
Mhm.
the rest of the family did not believe her. Only one of her sisters was on side. And the
Mhm.
father was a big DJ in the
Mhm.
West Midlands. I'm not even going to say the town. A big DJ in the West Midlands, and I inquired about this person because she had no need to tell me this story or to make it up or to tell me
Mhm.
otherwise. So I had no reason not to believe her, and she was very meek and mild and often going to the doctors because she was seeking therapy.
Mhm.
Um, so when this person told me about this person, they were like, "Oh no, this person's a good guy. No, no way would he do that. No, you can't say nothing. Don't say nothing to nobody. Keep this quiet." And I couldn't believe it. I mean, I don't think it's down to me to deliver that news. Um, and so the question, I suppose, is how do you balance the need for accountability with the potential, with a potential fallout? I mean, I could come out with some news like that, and everyone could turn
Mhm.
around and say, "What you doing? You don't know who he is. You don't know this young
Mhm.
person or whatever." I mean, how do you balance that? Do you ever feel bad about? I mean, why would you if they are an abuser? To be
Absolutely
honest with
not.
you, I was going to say, yeah, I'll
Absolutely
take
not.
that right. I'll take that back. But I suppose the person being accountable for delivering this information out there. I mean, how do you balance that?
In balance it against what? My personal life, you
Sorry,
mean?
with the potential fallout that could occur from that. So
Right.
whether you know
It's
when you've got split camps, people believe, don't believe,
sure, 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 sure.
the trolling.
I think I said it on Friday's live. I don't care what the naysayers
You
want
did,
to
yeah.
think. Yeah, I don't care. I really don't care what they want to say, Alison. It's just, I don't stand for them. I'm not here for them. I've got a very thick skin because I've got such a robust self-concept, and nobody can shake it. It doesn't matter what you say. And as I say, because we are so meticulous and painstaking in our investigations, and because I have to be in myself absolutely sure I believe the victim. If I believe the victim, it doesn't really matter what anybody else says or thinks. I think I'm a pretty good judge of character, and I said we have got some kind of fail safes that are put in there within our own process that really does, I think, weed out quite effectively people that are not serious and that want to maybe harm somebody with fabrications or whatever. I do get that. I get that all the time.
I was
You'd be
going to ask you,
surprised.
do
Oh
you get
yes,
that? And
oh yes.
I
Uh,
suppose you've got stages of which you can filter it out.
yeah, yeah. I've definitely got processes where that can happen. But I find it interesting. We always get a spike in those kind of inquiries when we've called out a particular person or it's been quite controversial. It's usually individuals that are trying to buck the system and kind of discredit it by thinking that they can get through with falsehoods. And it doesn't work for them. It doesn't work. The
It's
minute you want to engage with a person who's telling a lie, that's one way of trying to filter out people who are serious and who are not. And then the things that I ask for, the questions I ask, I have a series of conversations that can go on for weeks, sometimes months, with that victim before they reach the platform. So we get to know each other. And they may not realize it, but within our conversations, there's a hell of a lot of cognitive question going on from my end, and just kind of weeding out what kind of personality they are, going back over the story. One thing about truth, especially with testimony, if you do that enough, the consistency will fall. There will not
yeah,
be consistency. There will be something that suggests, so it's a great indicator, it's a marker that somebody's telling the truth when they're completely consistent all the time. I've had victims say to me, like, I've told you already, like, can we just get this going? No, we need to keep talking about it
you need to be sure.
behind the scenes. Yeah, I need to be sure.
So, have you seen any tangible changes or actions taken as a result of your public accusations?
We've definitely had a few cases, which, I was very proud to present through the course of this year, because what people need to understand is that these cases do not come to court overnight. We've got one very strong case at the moment that should have been heard by the courts in November, but it's been put off, and they've put it off again now. They've vacated it until 2026. So at the point where the abuse was happening, and it was a young girl who was abused by her father as well, her blood father. Um, at the point where the abuse happened, she was 12. She didn't actually speak out until she was 14, so it stopped at 14. He was removed from the house and, arrested. Um, and then by the time it gets to court, she'll be almost 19. Well, she will be
Wow.
19. So do you see what I mean? So she discloses as a child, and already we see that process happening just because of the system. Just because of the system. She's had to hold that. And of course, Dad pleaded not guilty. So, despicable individual. On top of the abuse that he's enacted on his daughter, he's also going to put her through a public trial by pleading not guilty. The evidence that we have is irrefutable, absolutely
Wow.
irrefutable. Um, he's facing 17 counts with that child, 17 counts, including penetration.
And it's still
So for
taking
him,
so long.
and it's still taking so long, and he's still denying it because of the way that the system is set up. Perpetrators are able to abuse the system. They're able to leverage the system, especially if they have money, to leverage the system in order to evade accountability. This is what they do. And the system makes it very easy for them and very difficult for survivors to be believed and to have power and to have a voice or even any recourse to justice.
And
That's the way
support.
it's set up, and support,
Yeah.
particularly for black women. There's no support for us. And that's another motivation for his time is up. It's the fact that we don't have that as black women, It's not easy for us to just dial a number from a helpline because it isn't made for us. We don't have a
The cultural
specific.
conditioning that we have. Don't
That's
tell no
correct.
one, don't talk about your
Absolutely.
problems. Hence why we've got a
Definitely don't
whole
share your business. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, don't talk to
Mhm.
no one. Yeah, that's what we were told all the time. Hence the reason why we got a whole load of black women who are in strong need of therapy in terms of what they've been through. I got a question in Mixcloud from Lady B says, how is it taking so long? Is her mum supporting her?
My mum.
This lady's mum that's going through
Oh,
this.
oh
The
yes.
young
It's
girl.
not a young girl. Yeah, her
Young
mum is
girl.
supporting her. Her mum's an absolute trooper. She's the reason that this case can even come to trial. Because she done a very clever thing when it happened. She was able to compose herself. He was very busy trying to convince her that, it was her daughter's fault, their daughter's fault, because she had seduced her dad at 12. So he was also offering to keep paying maintenance. She had 5 children for him, still does. And so she said, all right, well, you can meet me and give me my money. And that happened over a period of time, series of different meetings. She taped every single one of them and was able to get a confession out of him.
Wow.
So that mother is amazing. I don't think that I wouldn't be able to hold myself in that situation to get the
To be
evidence.
so
I just
calm
wouldn't. Absolutely.
and to hear them talking
So
about
yeah,
it as well.
she's very supportive of her daughter. It's broken them. His son has gone off the rails. He wasn't much younger than his sister, I think, by about a year, and the only son at the time. He's got a little brother now, but or he had a little brother at the time, to be fair, but it was a baby. It felt like the only son, and he's definitely gone astray, and I feel very sad about that. That individual, I actually knew him personally
Yeah.
before the disclosure, and I didn't realize, I didn't know her. He's got lots and lots of children and mothers and whatever. I didn't actually know her, so it
Just
was a
a
big shock to myself as well.
just a quick question for you on that subject. And you spoke about, the son has gone off the rails in finding out this information. And
Hmm.
as I said, you put your information on a public stage. Do you ever think about how it could impact the families because of which the kids are the innocent byproduct of this all?
Mm.
Some of the kids,
Yeah,
maybe even maybe the wives or not the wives or whatever. Maybe they're all implicit in all of this all. But do you think about that impact on their families at all?
of course. Some are complicit, and others are completely innocent in that scenario. And I do think about that, but I can't factor that in as a motivation or a deterrent. It's not my responsibility. It's the responsibility of that individual, the perpetrator. This is the result. This is the fallout of your actions. It's not my responsibility. I'm not going to hold back a story because there is that collateral damage on the other side. There's collateral. What about the victim? What about their collateral damage? Because that's who I stand for. And the collateral damage, with the perpetrators, it can, of course, it's enduring, but it's a lot
Yeah.
more immediate and short-lived than the consequences for the victim, because that goes generational. That goes into their children, their relationships, their husband, their job, their way of life. So there's consequences all round. And I do, I remember a particular story a few years ago, where I was contacted by the baby mother of the individual that I'd called out. And, she talked about the impact that it was having on her son, being bullied at school. And we did a lot of work around making sure that that young person was safe. If people are, normally people are very angry with me, so they're not open to kind of work with me anyway in that situation. They just want to sound off. But this particular sister was not that. She just wanted to know how to cope with it. She agreed with what I'd done, but her son was going through it. And we did all that we could to we made sure that we signposted that individual. We spoke to them, and I put it out on a live. I think that if anybody puts their hand on that boy, I personally will be making sure that there's an arrest. And they left him alone. So it's that kind of thing. We can do that if anybody wants to engage. Of course, I consider it, but it's not my driving force or my
Mm.
deterrent.
You are one strong woman. I don't think I could deal with my emotions or my feelings.
Mm.
Probably why probably why I can't do wrong most of the time. I'm always thinking about somebody else. But do you get much harassment from the police? Because I was going to say, you might believe what you're doing is necessary,
Hmm.
maybe morally right to some people, but is it legally right to do it?
It can be and it can't be. It depends how you do it. The police, yes, yes, the police. I have a warrant out for my arrest at the moment, Alison, which I'm going to surrender to when I return to London um, this week, and we'll see what that's all about. Apparently, it's a fresh allegation of harassment, which is what they do. We give a victim a platform. She speaks her truth, and the perpetrator denies it. They don't go for the victim; they come for me. And so it's been a cycle now that's been ongoing for quite a few years. Literally, old hat to me now. So, when I get back, I'll put on a tracksuit and I will pop a bank card in my back pocket so I can get home, bring a nice book, and trot down to the police station to get arrested and put in the cells. I'm actually planning on bleaching, the night before, so I can have a nice long sleep in the cells, and we just go through the process. I don't know what they hope to achieve really. It's very tiresome. It's very tiresome.
I was going to say, have you been? Has a warrant been out for your arrest a number of times then? Because
Oh yeah, it's been out a number of times. Yeah, what I don't know. Sometimes they will come. The police will present correctly in the way that they would with anybody else, and that is that they will contact you. They definitely have my number. Invite you in for a voluntary interview with your solicitor. You do that, you leave. But they always want to get hands on me. They always want to put me in the cells and drag it out in that way. And I think that's designed to wear me down. I have implicated them in quite a few bits, especially around Brixton. And I currently have a lawsuit that is about to land in court from a wrongful arrest in 2022. So I think that's why they're kind of stepping up the pace with me at the moment. I mean, it's just ridiculous. Why would you want to come swinging in that style as if I'm wanted by the flying squad, or perhaps I'm related to Pablo Escobar or something? I don't understand why, for such a minor offence, that they come in the fashion that they do. Well, I do understand it.
intimidation.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
My next question is about. I suppose when someone publicly makes an accusation, we can speak about Jay-Z. He's been quite recent in the news he's been
Mm,
publicly named as raping a young lady when she was 13 years old. Now, there's lots of
hmm.
things coming back in the news to say the father saying that that story isn't true and she can't corroborate her story.
Her
Um,
father is saying that. I
her,
haven't
fa-
caught up with it actually.
yeah, her father is now saying he didn't come and pick her up. He doesn't recall that, but we don't know all of the circumstances. This is just what's coming out in the news so far. So,
Mm.
I mean, do you think it's fair to create that perception when naming individuals, especially if it's not a police case just yet? Because I
It
mean,
depends on the strength of the evidence. It really does. It depends on the strength of the evidence, I think. Um, just because the law says it's not right doesn't mean it is right. Even though there's a long time when the law allowed us to be trafficked and brutalized on plantations.
yeah,
You know, there was a time when the law said that we could do that. So, is there an old saying that says the law is an ass? I mean, it doesn't mean that we go around breaking the law. That's not wise, is it? But the law is an ass, and it gets it very wrong, particularly when it comes to people of color. So, yes, I do think it's the right action, and it does depend on the strength of the evidence. Jay Z, I mean, what can we say? We weren't there, but I think there's been suspicions for a very long time in those camps, hasn't there? And lots of testimony coming out. You see that consistency of testimony, the same
yeah,
name coming up time and time again. So I'm inclined to believe what's being said. And it wouldn't
yeah.
be hard to give her dad a couple of million to say what he's saying either. So it's a very corrupt system.
And Lady B says, by the way, oh my gosh, you are an absolute divine spirit. You are a true warrior. To some
Oh, bless her.
degree, you actually remind me of Jaguar Wright, who's completely outspoken and talks about controversial subjects straight out. There's no filter. This is what's happened. This is what's happening, and people need to listen. And she was dismissed for years,
Oh,
you
yes.
know, dismissed for years in terms of her content, and her accusations. And now, she'd been talking about Jay Z from Kingdom Come, and now what's coming out is that Jay Z is this shady character. So
Hmm.
is it? Is this? I mean, people may not agree with what you're doing, but if the police are not doing their job and the victims are
That's
not being
right.
supported, is this the next step? And some people may say that you are both judge and jury in these
Well,
cases.
I don't. I'm not because ultimately, we're not just going to kind of leave it at what we do. We want police cases, and that's what we lobby them for. That's why we have a march every year in Windrush Square because we want them to take control. We want to be able to work with them. Some of them are really quite good, and they do work with us. I've had to make statements to the police on behalf of victims, not on behalf of victims, actually, as part of their case several times, and some of them are really good. And they get it, although they know that there's a limitation for both me and them when it comes to dealing with these people the correct way. So it's not all bad with the Met, and I've always been very polite. I've always been very engaging. When they want me, I go in. I'm always very cordial in the interviews. But I'm getting to a point now where it's not that, and I won't be cordial in this interview because it's rubbish. And there comes a point where, this two-tier policing that they seem to have, which is a big issue at the moment, because we've been trolled and terrorized, and I've had trolls turn up at my house, um, damaging my property and all sorts of stuff, which has been reported to the police, but they've done absolutely nothing. But with this current situation, somebody makes a complaint, and within 4 days, they're around intimidating and trying to get hold of me. So, two-tier policing, that's why they don't have a relationship with the black community. And I'll be telling them that. I'll be telling them that when I go in. This is
And
what you're
and
doing.
and the thing about it is that, as I said, a lot of people don't like the fact that you may be outspoken and speak about these issues, but if it doesn't happen, people will never know.
Nobody
Um,
likes the truth. I didn't become aware of Jaguar Wright until this whole P. Diddy thing started happening. But I
oh, you
wish I was
really?
aware of her.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I mean, I don't watch a lot of things online. I don't engage with social media or anything like that outside of the campaign very much. So, and I don't follow hip hop culture, so I just never heard of her prior to that. I wish I had because she's definitely a sister after my own heart. And she gets a similar type of vitriol. Not similar, it's even worse than me, I think. It's more high profile. But she gets the same vitriol, the same death threats, the same, you know? So, yeah, I do see a kind of slight parity between what she's doing and what I'm doing in that
Yeah.
regard. I'd love to have her on, actually. Great to interview her, wouldn't
It'll be great, but I think with
it? I don't think she'd be entertaining us, Alison. She's gone clear
oh,
in terms
she
of
has. Well,
interviews. And
she's
she's American as well. Like, I've lived amongst those guys. Do not get it twisted. The money has to be running before they're going to be doing any type of interview.
tell me about it.
Yeah.
Now, I've been speaking about the impact of the people that you've been accusing. I must say, I'd find that hard. I mean, it's a bit like if they've been arrested anyway, just on a normal charge, and they get sent to prison, they would be splitting up the family anyway.
Absolutely.
But how has this journey affected you personally and your family, taking up this mantle, taking up this charge, as you say, you feel compelled
Mm.
to do this? How has it affected you personally?
Do you know what? My older children are used to this in terms of activism and mummy kind of being on the front line, consequences from law enforcement and so on and so forth. You know, they kind of grew up with it. My older children,
Yeah,
um, God knew what he was doing when he gave me my last child because she just seems to be made for it. It doesn't faze her in the slightest. In fact, I think she likes it. But it's affected my children, my older children, particularly my older daughter, who I was out with last night. And we were talking about that actually. And when people were coming up to me and saying, oh, you know, she was actually having a reasoning with them and saying, yeah, I get it. And I know you guys need it. But if anything happens to my mom, you won't be there. It will be me. It will be us that deal with the fallout. And that is a really stark reality that you kind of have to face, you know. But that's where faith comes in at that point. I think my faith
okay.
definitely kicks in at that point, and that's what I stand on. Is the fact that actually I won't be harmed because I'm standing on righteousness and I'm actually obeying my steps that have been ordered. So I'm okay. There is a fallout. There's an emotional fallout. Of course there is. No one
Yeah,
wants to see their loved one unsafe. You know.
that something's going on. I mean, do you fear for your family's safety? Do you have to take extra safeguarding precautions?
Yeah, of course I do. I do. But fear is not something that I like to entertain. It's not something I like to put in my vocabulary. I don't fear. They fear. And so I have to be very mindful. But I don't have any fear in that regard because I do know that we're covered. I just know that. So yeah, I don't feel scared. I do feel concerned at times. There's times
Yeah,
when I have to kind of step up the game and become hyper vigilant, put in place systems that help us to be safe. But that's about, like I said, hyper vigilance as opposed to fear. Mm.
I was going to say because you do move around a bit. I've seen in your videos you have moved around or stayed in other countries for a while. I mean, that's got to be
Hmm.
difficult having to move around and not have somewhere always as a
Mm.
base. Do you have a base now? Obviously, I don't want to know where it is, but
Yeah,
do you
yeah.
have a solid
Yeah,
base now?
I've always had my base. When I lived abroad, I was renting out my property. And that's my family home. So that's never gone anywhere. That's where I'm back at. Thankfully, it's outside of London. But yeah, yeah, I've always had a base. Born and raised here. There are many
Okay.
bases. Yeah, but I
So
don't like this country. I don't. I don't like this country. There was a time that I fought for it, and I don't like our community in this country. We're very apathetic.
yeah,
We've assimilated to the hilt. We've lost our identity, our culture, our
very
purpose.
divided.
Very divided, but also, as I said, very apathetic. Just accepting the status quo. That's not who we are. Definitely not in Black Britain, and that frustrates me quite a lot with our people. Um, I will not. I will not end up here. Ultimately, I'm kind of back on a 4 year sort of loop because of the His Time Is Up march. But I keep saying I don't live here.
So tell us a little bit about His Time Is Up, because I forgive me, I don't even know if I asked you about your whole movement of His Time Is Up. We know the reasons to why it started, but
Mhm.
give us a little bit more information about His Time Is Up.
There's not much to tell apart from what you see, really. It's a movement that's grown organically in earnest. And it just seems to be going, it won't stop. It seems to be going from strength to strength and growing year on year. Even if I wanted to leave it at this point, I don't feel able to. You spoke about passing the baton. And yeah, look, I can't pass the baton. It's not mine to pass. It's an issue that belongs to all of us. And if somebody wants to, do that, do what I
Yeah.
do tomorrow, and it's, sincere and for the right reasons, I will fully support that. I'm sure there are
Okay.
people that's, doing things in their own way. But in terms of passing the baton, I don't think you can pass the baton. I think a person has to take the baton. It's not something to be passed on necessarily, you know.
Before
And it may well be one of my daughters. You never know. It could be the
you
little
never
one.
know.
She
I'm
seems to
sure
have
you're.
the fabric for it, the little one. So yeah.
So we'll see how that happens. Now, before I go on to community and your legacy, as we were quite moving nicely into that, I've got a question from Lady B, who's been on Mixcloud, but
Sorry,
she's.
before you get to that question, I have
Yeah,
to say,
sure.
in terms of his time is up, that it wouldn't be what it is if it wasn't for the sisters in the background that support his time is up, that are part of the teams, that are, it wouldn't be anything without those sisters. When I first started, there were many sisters that reached out, that wanted to get involved, that wanted to help. And, that has come down to a very, very loyal cohort of people that without them, I think I'd probably have fizzled out a long time ago. So I just want to give that shout out and that acknowledgement to those
Oh,
sisters in the
well,
background.
big up to those sisters who are looking after our sisters in our community. Um, so Lady B says this is a bit of a personal question. She wants to know if you was ever abused, Afua.
Yeah, like I said, when I disclosed to my family at 10 years old, I was molested sexually by three different people across a period of time. One was when I was very, very young, probably 3 years old upwards, and that was around sort of oral rape. And then there was another family member who was, well, that actually first one was a family friend. You know how it was in the old days; everybody was an uncle.
Yeah.
That was a family friend. The second person was actually my father's brother, and he was into sort of touching and fiddling and playing really weird games. Nothing more, nothing less. And the third one, who I believe would have been the person to kind of go all the way and really violate me, but it didn't happen the day it was supposed to, was a nasty piece of work. He was my mother's cousin, all from the island of Jamaica.
Mm.
So yes, I have been sexually abused. Yes, I have. People criticize me for saying that I feel blessed that none of that abuse ended up in vaginal rape, if I can say that.
Yeah, you can.
And only another survivor can understand why I say that, you know. But some people have been, oh my God, you're putting some sort of hierarchy in abuse. Of course not. But there are degrees of abuse. And depending on the degree of abuse is depending on how it will affect you going forward, you know. So I do feel blessed because of the utter desecration and destruction that I've seen of some sisters who have been through that, as opposed to those that haven't. It seems that those that haven't, where the abuse was of a different nature, in my opinion, it seems that those sisters fare a little bit better in terms of fallout
Yeah.
and enduring trauma, you know? So, yes, I do feel blessed that the abuse wasn't that extreme, in my opinion, but it does affect you. And I think what affected me more was less the abuse and more not being believed. And a lot of people say that. That is the bigger trauma.
It is the biggest when people don't believe
Mm,
you and you're telling the truth,
absolutely.
especially about something like that. That's that's
Absolutely.
that is quite powerful. Um, Coming on to you a little bit. I mean, your work has been described as empowering and both divisive.
Mm.
Sorry. What do you think people misunderstand most about your intentions?
I think the fact that it's on social media, they think I'm some sort of clout chasing content creator, not understanding that, I only learned to use social media properly at the point where this happened. Do you know what I mean? And, and,
I used
and
to see some
content
of your
creation is,
lives.
oh God, they're not much better now. Yeah, technical stuff. Your presentation looks brilliant, by the way. We're going to have to talk afterwards to
No
see how I
problem.
can achieve such stability in the visuals. But
Problem.
yeah, look, it's I don't know. I don't actually know how I cope. It's not a plan that you have. You don't have this kind of set regime where you say, this is my coping mechanism, this is my coping plan. You just kind of go through, and self belief and faith. That's all I can say with that one, really. That's all I can
And
say.
you have a lot of self-belief and faith, believe you me. But
Hmm.
what messages do you hope that people take away from your actions, but particularly to women that may feel powerless or
You
fearful of
don't have
talking?
to feel shame. You don't have to feel shame, and you are allowed to talk. Even if that means it's a bold move because talking out has a lot of consequences. You can lose your whole family.
Mm.
You can lose your children. You can lose a lot just from speaking the truth as a victim. You can. So it's a bold move. It's a move that, be prepared to make and be prepared to lose absolutely everything when you do. But the satisfaction and the release of speaking your truth, it will be worth it.
Oh, Sharky's come on. It looks like he's got a question.
Hey, Sharky.
Hi, how are you?
Good.
Yeah. Talking as a man, I mean, I've been listening to you. I've heard a lot of stuff that people say about you guys.
Mhm.
About what you do, and obviously, I think listening to you now, I kind of
Mhm.
understand a little bit more
Mhm.
about your quest for your objective of what you do, sticking up for women, and I kind of feel, as I was going to say earlier on when I brought up Jay Z, but Alison said it already that Jagger White has been talking a lot about what goes on in the background and sticking up for these victims. I kind of feel that you're kind of that UK version of Jaguar Wright. I don't really know anybody that is out there that is sticking up for people.
Mm.
And listening to what you said, I'm actually thinking to myself, you know what? It's actually well done, good work going out there. The only
Thank
thing
you.
for me is about getting it right every time,
Absolutely. Yeah.
because that is the thing that you know I suppose most people would be worried about. If you haven't done anything, then you've got nothing to
Mm.
worry about. You know, when you do something, of course, no one's ever going to um, admit that they've done wrong when they were young. No one's going to admit that. I mean, no one wants to go to prison. Yeah, I mean, you look at Diddy; he's denied
Mm.
absolutely everything. And like you said,
Absolutely.
one person, okay, two people, three people. Jaguar's been out there. She's like saying, "Well, take me to court. I'm prepared." You
That's
know,
it.
and
Yeah.
I was watching a video on her yesterday, and she's actually put that Pierce Morgan video right back on her page and said, "Right, I've spoken about it. I'm correct. It's now out there."
There you
So
go.
I
I
think
can
if you have,
relate to that because I don't know if you guys remember
Yeah.
little Eliane that was stabbed and
Oh,
murdered,
yes.
unfortunately, in
Yes.
Croydon.
Yes.
oh
Yeah.
yes,
So
yes, I
at
was
the
talking about that last
time,
week.
right, at the time of that, I put up the picture of the perpetrator because the press was saying that they can't name him. He's 18. I disagreed with that. He was almost 18 and he'd done the heinous things that he'd done. Okay. So I had a very, very, very strong link. To this day, I can't reveal it. It's a very official link. Who supplied me with the picture of the individual? Even the press would have had it at the time, but weren't releasing it. I put it
Yeah.
up, and the vitriol that hit the page because there was another video circulating around social media that was fake of an arrest. Um, People cottoned onto that and they thought that was actually the individual. And I was saying to them, no, it's not. This is the individual. I had people coming over like black journalists, the vitriol, 600 and odd comments on my page, just cursing me out, telling me that I'm wrong and all this sort of stuff. And then, of course, this year, he's turned 18, the trial's going through, and the press have released the exact photo that I released. So I think I put a post up asking for an apology. I got two out of the 635. And that's what we're dealing with, to be fair. That's what we're dealing with. I can't tell you the amount of times that I've had to put pictures up and say, what are you guys saying now? Because this person's been convicted or that person, do you know what I mean? And I find it really interesting as well that as a community, we have a culture that says you cannot snitch. If somebody stabs somebody else's child, you cannot snitch. Do you know what I mean? But when it comes to this issue, everybody wants a police case. Everybody wants a court case all of a sudden. Have you been to the police? Has he been convicted? But hold on, I thought we couldn't snitch. I
The,
thought we
wor-
didn't even care what the police say. So it's
the,
very
the,
interesting.
the worst thing is, through slavery, we were encouraged to snitch on each other, and
Absolutely.
we've turned that culture all the way around to say, okay, we
Yeah.
did before, we were beaten for it if we didn't, and now let's not. And
But
it's
only the only exception is if a woman accuses a man of this type of thing, then we can snitch. You see?
it's difficult, and people
Yeah.
will have different reflections or inflections on what they believe people should or should not be doing. Do you
Hmm.
ever believe you've ever gone too far
Too far in what way?
in terms of your accusations, or because there's been some well-known individuals that you've gone
Yeah.
after? Um,
Yeah.
in terms
I
of
don't
the,
think.
go ahead.
No, I was going to say I don't think we can ever go too far if we're exposing that kind of wrongdoing in our community. I don't think we can go far enough. So no, I don't think I've gone too far. Uh, I don't have a time machine. I cannot say as an absolute, but I can say pretty strongly that I believe every single person that's come on the platform and shared their story. And no matter what the naysayers say, not one of them has proven that we are lying. I mean, they can accuse us of it, but come and prove that we're lying. Prove that you're innocent. None of them can do it.
I'm not sure
Not one.
if Alison's asked the question yet, but have you
Mm.
ever got it wrong? I mean, I'm not sure.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
Yeah, and
if we
if
have, it's never been proven that we have. Put it
yeah,
that way.
okay.
Never.
Good
So
question.
every time that you've actually gone after somebody, it's always been 100% accurate.
Well, in my mind and in the mind of the victim who's giving us it, of course it's accurate. Has it been proven in a court of law? That's the benchmark, isn't it? Whether it's accurate or not. But is it? Because the system is so flawed. What are we
I was going
asking
to
for?
say the way the justice
Do you know what I
system is
mean? What are
set
we
up.
actually asking for here? We're only going to legitimize that type of complaint if the very same system that holds the victim down red lights it and legitimizes it. That's the only time we're going to accept it. Or are we going to stand up as a community and say, do you know what? We've heard this about like a Jay Z or a P Diddy or a VA, a VR, sorry, from Brixton. There's no denying certain things, Sparky. We all know, but just because that person hasn't been convicted by a court of law that we know is already stacked against us, then we're not going to accept it. I find that unacceptable. I find that
That's
unacceptable.
that's a very good point, actually. Unless he's
Mm.
done by court of law, we refuse to believe
Yeah.
that could be the truth. But
And since when did a court of law avail any black man really to a great recourse of justice? We know the courts of law get it wrong, especially when it comes on black crime. But all of a sudden
absolutely.
we have a faith in it, or from the standpoint of the perpetrator, we have faith in this system all of a sudden. I just find it really, really interesting.
It's like the media will come out if they find that there's a perpetrator or someone that people want to name, especially if they're over the age of 18. They waste no time in naming individuals
Absolutely.
and putting it
Absolutely.
out there. And we deal with it and we read it and we're all engaged and involved in it. But as soon as someone like you
Hmm.
comes and be an advocate for women, suddenly it's deemed wrong. But I'm also conscious of time because I've got to get
Yep.
away today. I've got to get myself into London. So I've just got two more questions for you, Afro, before we wrap up. Um,
Hmm.
one of them is like, how do you want to be remembered? What do you hope your legacy will be?
Um, as the sister that started the conversation. But I don't think you can leave a legacy with just words. I think we have to have something tangible. I've always said
Yeah,
that. So whether that is a center or a hotline or something that is
reform.
left reform, we're definitely fighting on that regard. We meet with MPs, particularly in Lambeth, sorry guys, particularly in Lambeth. And yeah, of course we lobby. We're on the waiting list for Imran Khan at the moment, and seeing that if he can support some of the Lambeth victims to bring cases against Lambeth. So yeah, all of that good stuff. But for me, we need to leave something back behind from this campaign in the Black community that will benefit future generations. And that could be a helpline, it could be a hub,
And
it could be
encourage people
anything.
to talk.
That's how I want to be remembered. There's somebody who started that conversation and left that behind.
So my last question to you is, tell me something about you that most people wouldn't expect or know about you. I mean, we see your online
God,
persona, but
there's so much.
Pick one, the one
This
thing
pick
that
one
stands out that you would like people
to know.
to know.
that I'm a shy person, actually.
And that
Yeah,
could be true. I mean,
You
people don't
believe that?
believe that. Sometimes when you're standing up and being an
yeah,
orator,
yeah,
you
yeah,
can be very
yeah.
shy.
Absolutely. Yeah, my core personality is that I'm quite a shy person, actually. It doesn't manifest itself, but it's there. It is in there. And
Yeah.
I used to be in a band, and I've performed at Glastonbury at the V Festival. People don't know that either.
Oh
Used to
my
be a
gosh.
bit of a
Kind of
rock chick.
rock, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it was more
Not R
indie
and
than
B, but
rock.
rock chick.
It was more indie than rock, I'd have to say.
Indie rock. All right. Okay.
But
Very different. Very
yeah, that was
different.
a whole different incarnation many years
Well, I
ago.
wouldn't have known that about you either.
Hmm.
Mm.
Definitely not. But
So
listen,
my
go on,
last
Sharky.
question, yeah, what would you like to say be solidly achieved in the next 5 years with yourself,
Personally, or with the campaign?
with the campaign?
Actually, I think it's the same answer for both. I won't be here, and that campaign will be going abroad into the diaspora and doing exactly what it does here in other places, because we're in a lot of places. And I think one of the places where I will start, and I have done work prior to this, is Jamaica.
Yeah.
I do talk to people like Queen Ifrica. I talk to quite a few people in Jamaica, and there's so much work to be done there. You know, it feels like a kind of natural progression to
In
go
those
there and do that
destinations,
work.
yeah.
Okay.
Hmm.
Okay.
Well,
Thank you very
listen,
much.
Afua, thank you so, so much for your time
Thank you,
today.
my
You know,
sister.
I felt
Thank
like
you.
I'd been stalking you for about 18 months
Oh God.
before I got you on the
I'm
show
glad.
today.
Do you know what? I was so tired. I didn't get until 7 a.m. this morning, and I nearly cancelled. And I thought, no, I can't do that to sister. It's been a long time, but at least I can come on without my camera because right now it's not a pretty sight.
Oh well, we'll use Instagram to look at your pictures. But just before we go, where can people find you when you do the
They can
lives and
find
so
me on.
forth?
They can find me on at Afua Rose 69 on Instagram. If you've got a story to tell or you want me to investigate somebody, you can DM me on Instagram at Afua Rose 69, no spaces. There are a lot of copy channels out there and trolls and stuff. So just remember it's Afua Rose 69, no spaces. And you can also catch me on YouTube every Friday under Afua Rose, Afua Speaks Community Conversations, and Afua Rose on Facebook.
All right.
Well, whatever you thought today, guests, people, certainly you've impressed me today with the things that you're doing. We do need a strong advocate in our community, right or wrong. You're doing what needs to be done. Afua, you take
Thank you,
care, my
sis.
darling. Thank you
Thank you, my
so,
darling.
so
And thank
much.
you, DJ Sharky, as well.
Sharky DJ, my dear.
Sharky DJ, sorry,
He
not
gets
DJ
annoyed. He gets
Sharky.
annoyed.
No,
All right,
blessed
well,
love,
thank you for
both of
coming
you.
on.
Thank you. No
Thank you,
worries.
Afua.
You're welcome.
I'm going to
Bye bye.
continue cooking the rice and peas now. Take care, guys.
All right, you take
Bye.
care as well.
Bless.
Oh my God, what an amazing lady! What an amazing interview! I didn't know how I was going to feel actually when I first started interviewing her. We hadn't really spoken, just little bits. But what you can take away from that discussion is that she is a very bold and strong advocate for women's rights. Lots of times, I think she answered some of the questions about why she puts her accusers on main stage, what information she gets, and the strength of her convictions. Now, whether she's right or wrong in all cases, I'm not judge and jury, and I'm certainly not the police. But there's people out there that appreciate her work. Lioness says in Gambia and listening sis, with you always. Brown Sugar says big up yourself, Lioness. Brown Sugar says we don't seek revenge, rotten fruit falls by itself. She also says love Afua or hate Afua, she is still going to shine. Stay focused on the cause and flying above the drama. Everyone loves the honest person until an honest person strikes a chord with a truth that they were not ready to receive, which is very bold words there.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I've got to say I enjoyed that interview. There's lots of things that I got out of today that I was hoping to get out of, and a little bit of a newfound respect. It doesn't matter what people think out there. There needs to be a voice. I'm not doing anything different than what the media is doing. Her methods, her process and due diligence might be all up for question amongst people, but the outcome and her reason for doing it is what maintains and what motivates her, is working with the victims and supporting the victims. And being a victim herself, she knows firsthand what it's like. And as she spoke about already, the police, the CPS, how they deal with rape, molestation, child abuse cases on women is particularly slow or non-existent. So, trailblazer, freedom fighter, whatever you want to call Afua Rose, she certainly shines the light out there, has a torch. And pretty much enjoyed today. I hope you guys did on Mixcloud on YouTube. Thank you very much for joining. Replay will go out on YouTube for those who have missed the beginning, the end, or so forth. And thank you so much, Sharky DJ, for being on hand today.
And yeah, it's a very interesting interview indeed. And you know what, I've learned a little bit more. And I do hope many people get a bit more of what Afua Rose is really about. So yeah, well done to you.
Fantastic. Right, I'm going to have to run because I've got to get on the train. So tomorrow is the Breakfast Flight Show from 7 till 10 a.m. I'm going to let you take up the helm, Sharky, and play some music and talk about what's next because I got to get on a train. Anyway, thank you very much, everybody. See you tomorrow on the Breakfast Flight Show for those who are going to be up and early from 7 a.m. Thank you.
And I'm going to play one more track, and I'm going to be out of here as well. So big up HBQ for bringing on Afua Rose, a very controversial young lady who's out there to do justice on the behalf of women. Like she says, whether it's the right thing, the wrong thing, how she's going about it, she's out there now. So I'm going to leave you with this one. So don't forget, tomorrow morning we are on the Breakfast Flight Show between 7 and 10 on GY Radio, State of the Art Luton Urban Radio and Rex Radio, and also live on Sharky DJ 7 Mixcloud and HBQ. So see you guys tomorrow morning. Last one from me, and I'm out of here.
What's up, people? This is Omar saying join me on December the 15th at the Coco in Camden for a night of soul music where we'll be raising money for the Macmillan Teenage Cancer Trust and the Cancer Research UK. People like myself, Shola Amma, Louise Marshall, Kevin Leo, Adenike, London Soul Choir, and a Killer House band is going to be kicking that night. All right, so go to coco.co.uk for the tickets. See you there. Paranoid,
baby, but I know it.
Seduction City presents Blues City, your destination for the best in reggae, dancehall and more. Feel the full sound of Seduction City, powered by the authentic female DJs, the dynamic Lady Banton and the iconic Majestic Lady, representing the true female sound system. Join us at the Colour Factory at 8 Queen's Yard, London E9 5EN on Sundays, the 22nd of December 24, the 26th of January 25 and the 23rd of February 25 from 3 until 9 p.m. Entry is just £12.50. And don't miss the 2-for-1 Rum Punch special during the first hour. It's perfect for the start to the vibes. So head on down to Blues City, where the music and energy come alive.
Beautiful skin. I'm loving the skin that I'm in.
And we are back with the Breakfast Flight Show with Sharky DJ and HPQ News on every Monday and Tuesday. Tune in live from 7:30 to hear HPQ with the alternative news. Streaming live on Mixcloud, on Sharky DJ, HPQ and on G-By Radio. So that's the Breakfast Flight Show every Monday and Tuesday from 7 till 10 a.m. Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year from the Breakfast Flight Show crew. Join us for our Christmas week special on Monday the 23rd of December, Tuesday the 24th of December and on Christmas Day the 25th of December from 7 till 10 a.m. So join us for a Christmas week special on the Breakfast Flight Show with Sharky DJ and HPQ 7 till 10 a.m. And here's wishing you a Merry Christmas and a very Happy New Year from the Breakfast Flight Show crew. Welcome back to the Virtual Couch on Sunday, December the 15th from 12 until 3 p.m. with the House Party Queen for a powerful and thought-provoking episode. My very special guest is Afua Rose, a bold and controversial advocate for women's rights and enlightenment. Known for her fearless approach and unapologetic views, Afua will challenge the status quo and spark conversations that matter. Don't miss this opportunity to explore this discussion and much more. So tune in live on Mixcloud and on YouTube. This is one conversation you won't want to miss. Let's also start to give and do more for our charity. So donate to HPQ Giving.